Some forests appear on maps and some don't. But the most disturbing forests are the ones that feel alive. On October 14, three travelers unknowingly entered one of those places. They were not explorers, they were not investigators, they were just three friends trying to find their way home. What they found instead was something waiting beneath the trees. The road had already disappeared, the GPS signal was gone, and the forest around them was becoming unnaturally quiet. Harry was driving, Johnny sat beside him, and Daniel was staring out the back window. At first, they thought they were simply lost, but then something strange happened. The forest stopped making sound, no insects, no wind, not even the rustling of leaves. It was the kind of silence that feels like something is listening. They stepped out of the car. The air was colder than it should have been, and that's when they saw it, a pigeon standing on a broken stone, completely still. At first glance, it looked ordinary, but when the bird turned its head, they noticed something disturbing. It had only one eye, and that eye was glowing red. The bird didn't fly away, it didn't move, it simply stared at them. And then it started walking, not flying, walking deeper into the forest. They followed it, maybe out of curiosity, maybe because they had no other direction to go. After several minutes, the tree suddenly ended and something appeared in the darkness. A mansion, old, massive, and completely abandoned. The building stood in the center of the forest, as if the trees themselves had grown around it. And the pigeon was sitting on the gate. One last time it looked directly at them, and then it vanished. The mansion door was enormous, black, and covered in rusted iron patterns. It looked less like a door and more like a warning. But curiosity is a powerful thing, so they pushed it open, and the moment the door moved, a deep metallic sound echoed inside the mansion, a sound that didn't feel mechanical. It felt like something waking up. The door closed behind them. No one touched it, but the sound echoed through the mansion like a coffin being sealed. The air inside was colder, much colder than the forest outside, and the smell was something ancient, dust, rot, and something metallic, like old blood. They stepped forward, and that's when they noticed the walls. The walls were covered with portraits, hundreds of them, old paintings framed in cracked wood, kings, warriors, nobles, but something was terribly wrong. Every single portrait was missing a head. The bodies were still there, elegant clothes, royal armors, but there the head should have been, there were nothing. As if the someone had carefully erased their identity, Daniel whispered something, but his voice sounded wrong. The mansion swallowed sound. They moved deeper inside, and the hallway opened into a massive chamber. At first glance, it looked like a royal court, but what stood inside was far more disturbing. Statues, dozens of them, stone warriors, standing in perfect rows, each holding a massive sword, but just like the portraits, they had no heads. The swords were enormous, almost ceremonial, as if they had once been used for something very specific, something ritualistic. At the far end of the chamber, there was a throne, not a chair, a throne, tall, carved from black stone, and designed for someone powerful, but something behind the throne made them stop walking. There was a human head embedded into the wall, half of it buried inside the stone. The skin looked dry, ancient, but not dead, because one eye was open and glowing red. For several seconds, no one moved. The eye slowly shifted, looking directly at them, and then the mouth moved. The voice didn't come from the head, it came from the walls. A whisper, dry, broken, and ancient. The voice said, "Find my body, or you will join the tree." The three travelers looked at each other because they didn't understand the warning yet. But outside the mansion, behind the building, there was a cemetery, and in the center of that cemetery, there was a tree with no leaves, only branches, and on every branch there was a human head, except one branch, the highest one, was still empty. The whisper faded, but the words stayed in their heads. "Find my body or join the tree." The three travelers slowly turned toward the back door of the mansion. Something outside was pulling them. No curiosity, something deeper, like gravity. They stepped outside, and the forest felt different. The wind had stopped. No insects, no birds, just silence. And in the middle of the forgotten cemetery, they saw it. A massive dead tree, no leaves, no lives, only branches stretching into the sky like skeleton fingers, and hanging from every branch there was a human head, dozens of them, old, decayed. Some looked centuries old, others looked disturbingly recent. Their eyes were closed, but their mouths were slightly open. as if they had tried to scream. Above them, one branch remained empty, the highest branch, and suddenly they understood. The whisper had been a command. Somewhere in this forest, the body of the creature in the wall still existed. If they found it, maybe they could live. If they failed, the tree would claim them. They began digging through the cemetery. Graves were everywhere, old, broken, and unmarked. Then Daniel's shovel hit something, wood, a coffin. They forced it open, and inside there was a body dressed like a king but missing its head. The body was perfectly preserved, as if time had refused to touch it, and around its neck there was a deep circular cut, the same size as the head embedded in the mansion wall. The truth became clear. The creature in the wall was once the ruler of this place, a king who had performed rituals, sacrifices, decapitations to feed the tree, but something went wrong, and now the forest itself had trapped him. They carried the body back to the mansion. The red eye watched them the entire time. The whisper returned, "Place it on the throne." They did, and for a moment nothing happened. Then the mansion shook, the embedded head cracked free from the wall, and slowly it attached itself to the body. The red eye blinked, and the king stood up. The travelers waited, expecting freedom, but the king smiled, a slow, terrifying smile. He whispered only three words, "Thank you, replacements." The doors of the mansion slammed shut, and outside, the empty branch of the tree was no longer empty. Three new heads hung from it, and deep inside the forest, a pigeon with glowing red eye flew away.